Blinking is like a reverb function. Like that's why I was looking at it earlier. I was like, is this thing gonna sound like this? Like,
I hope you keep this part of the video.
I will.
Okay.
Alien strong.
Yeah, it's alien strong. Okay, so we're going to talk about one skill exercise or drill and two assistant exercises for the log clean and press and for the development of the log clean and press. So for the skill drill, I would say work with a barbell, work with a log, work with anything that is going to involve a push jerk. I know that for some of you, Ashley in particular, it is a very weird movement to drive and then to be asked to rebend and come under the weight. But essentially what we're doing is we are taking the weight and we're using our legs effectively to drive power into the weight. And then once it reaches the apex of that drive, we're dipping under and focusing on catching at the top of that. So it's less of a pressing the weight and more of actually throwing and pressing your body down into position is an effective jerk. So it's moving the weight with your legs and pushing your body under the weight is what a jerk is really when we get down to it. So working with any kind of jerk is going to help you to transition to a push jerk with the log. Now the two exercises that I've selected are actually for overall shoulder development. So with pressing like this, any kind of pressing, overhead pressing, you're going to be getting a lot of anterior deltoid development. So we need to balance out the medial deltoid and the posterior deltoid. Medial deltoid is just going to be lateral raises, this right here. So the thing that I like to focus on when I do these is I kind of focus on flaring my lats just a little bit and pulling my shoulders out front. I push my hips behind my shoulders just a little bit. And then I let my elbows lead my wrists. And I let my pinkies stay above my fingers the whole time. This is a full range of motion right here. A lot of people might think like, I gotta go up here. Well, when you bring the weight above the shoulder, you're actually activating the traps and that can cause a lot of dysfunction. Also, when you bring the finger above the pinky, you're activating the anterior deltoid or the front deltoid. You have to keep that finger below the pinky. So let the elbows lead the wrist, let the pinkies stay above the fingers. This is a full range of motion. This is effective right here. And then the second exercise is going to be a band pull apart. You can select any kind of band. If you want less tension, go single like this. I like to double it up like this. I just select something that is a little more narrow than shoulder width. I grip it, pull it straight out, and then I focus on similar principles. I let my elbow lead my wrist, and I keep my pinky above my finger and pull straight apart. Okay, similar principles, but what I'm doing is exposing the posterior deltoid to all of the strain. What can happen is a lot of people will not pay attention to those principles, and they'll do this kind of thing, and this is not effective for working the posterior deltoid, especially if the elbow is bent. You're doing this kind of thing. Both of those are bad movement patterns. Pinkies above the fingers, elbows lead the wrists. Straight across. Should be right at the low portion of the sternum. You might find it a little higher on your sternum. That's perfectly fine anywhere in here. You should be able to feel the movement within 5 or 6 repetitions. You should feel it burning in the back of the shoulder. And we're going to do an Instagram group or a group email or something. And I actually have all 3 of these exercises already made up in technical videos, so everybody's going to get those today. So any questions for me? Okie dokie.